Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the October 17th Town Board meeting. Please rise for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Jeff Renahan, First Ward.
Bill Carlos, Second Ward.
Jessica Lopez, Third Ward.
Michael Safone, Fourth Ward.
Matthew Woolever, Fifth Ward.
Ann Schurshin, Sixth Ward.
Jim Nelson, attorney for the town.
John Baisley, Town Supervisor. Welcome, everybody. Town Board meeting tonight. 1 second here to figure out where I am. We have no public hearings for tonight. That's what I was looking for. Tonight's Town Board meeting is concurred disability retirement of Detective Sergeant Douglas Sherwin's number 1. Number 2, appoint Leslie Lugal as a permanent part-time police assistant. 3, adopt the procurement policy. 4, appoint Carl White as chairman of the planning board and as a member of the comprehensive plan committee. 5, certificate of attendance for Carl Whitehead. 6, a holiday block party, Arlington Business Improvement District. 7, set a date for public hearing for the budget. 8, Town Code Amendment tree preservation. 9, set a date for public hearing on Town Code Amendment 210, add Little Free Libraries. 11, authorize a sale of surplus equipment in auction. 11, resignation of Jennifer Streifel, part-time planning clerk. 12, appoint Sarah Taylor, part-time typist to Justice Court. 13, amend non-discrimination harassment in the workplace employee handbook. 14, appoint a county legislator and term successor. 15, authorize the signing of stormwater documents, IDOM equities. 16, notification of claims, Height versus the town. 17, waive 30-day liquor license renewal for 110 Grow located in Poughkeepsie Galleria. 18, authorize special consent 1, which is special consent 1 is accept the resignation of John Wiseman from the Comprehensive Review Plan Committee. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for comment on any item on the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Does anybody have any comment on any item on the agenda? Doreen?
Question on agenda item number 1, the disability retirement of Detective Sergeant. So, will that officer?
Doreen, I don't think that mic is working. Can you try the other one?
Maybe not.
There we go. Yeah.
So,
Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's coming through. Yeah, use the, might be best to use the handheld. I don't think that one's working.
agenda item number 1.
I don't know. Tap it.
No. Go ahead. We'll tape it.
Anyway, agenda item number 1. So, will that officer continue to receive the salary that the town has to contribute to?
No, once he's into retirement, his salary is gone. Is that the question you're asking, Doreen?
Yes.
He's been out on disability for quite a while, and he's finally going into disability retirement.
Okay, so the town does not contribute at all to that?
Not to retirement. Once they go, we contribute to his medical benefits, but not his retirement.
Okay. And also, is there a lump sum payout associated with that? Like, for example, there were 2 AFD firefighters that went out on disability retirement this year, firefighters Lopez and Ashline. And firefighter Lopez got about $126,000 payout, and firefighter Ashline got about $180,000. So is there any payout associated with this?
There is a payout, but I don't know what the number is off the top of my head. They do get paid out for their, sick time and stuff.
Okay, so, but you don't have those numbers? Right?
No.
Should I FOIL for those numbers?
Foil or call me in the morning. I'll find out if they're put together yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is they're getting large sums of money. I didn't know if the police had the same thing.
Yeah, there's a cap on how many hours there are, but I don't know how many he has been. He's been out for quite a while.
Agenda procurement policy. So if I understand this correctly, under 3C, under town board authorization, so is what you're saying that for professional services that are exempt under Article 5, you're saying that anything under $20,000, the board will have to approve? So for example, you don't have to go out, under law, you don't have to go out for an RFP for professional services. Those are the ones that are exempted from the policy.
Correct.
The way I read it, what you're saying is that for those things such as engineering services or other professional services, the town board only has to authorize it if the contract is $20,000 or more?
No, the way this is written, or the intention, is that the determination of whether to do an RFP for professional services rests with the board. However, the letting of a contract, the hiring of a professional, requires a resolution of approval from the town board whether an RFP is done or not.
Right, but, okay, so, and that's only if it's $20,000
No.
more?
No, the way this, I mean, the board can do pretty much as it will, professional, or especially to professional contracts, which are not governed by Section 103. But the way this is written, it says for accepted procurements
Right, under Article 5, right?
shall require town board authorization. So when I was working on this with the supervisor, what we were talking about was, okay, what if there is a contract to hire an accountant or a lawyer for $4,000, $8,000, $12,000, $15,000? It requires a resolution of the town board as drafted. But then again, the town board can change this pretty much as it wishes.
Okay, it's still, like, so, when does the town board have to authorize those? What's the dollar amount?
There is no dollar amount.
Well, there is a dollar, what's that $20,000?
The $20,000 relates to mandatory bidding under the general municipal law for equipment and supplies. And for professional services, there is a requirement for a town board resolution approving the hiring of a professional, no matter what the amount is, above, below, or at $20,000. Now, if it needs to be written in a way that makes that more clear, that's fine. But that's what's intended by this, and that's what I thought it said.
Okay, yeah, I found that very confusing. I will reread it, but sounds, it's not clear to me what the intent of that was. In the last, agenda item number 8, under Town Code Amendment for Chapter 187 tree preservation. So that came about because of illegal tree cutting by Daniel LaCour, right, City's Capital on Rivercrest Road.
Yes. Well, it came about based on a review of the wording of the code. And you can always rely on your police department to issue your appearance tickets, but you can also designate a code officer to do it. So in this case, the appearance ticket was issued by the police department, but the regular practice, my sense was, should be that these types of violations should be pursued by the zoning officer, the building department, the code enforcement officer. So that's what this is intended to do.
And I agree with that. And my question is, though, where you have this line that you added, such offenses may be prosecuted by the zoning administrator, the building inspector, the deputy assistant, subordinate to the code enforcement authority. So that's shown there as Exhibit K. So you added that after that offenses are punishable by a fine of not more than $1,000. So that was added after the first sentence. But does that also apply to, I mean, is this now the entire 187.15A? Because 187.15A was much longer And then it went on to say, you know, what happens for second offenses and subsequent. So where, this is added like in the middle of the law? Like after?
Well, it's added where the matter of prosecution is being discussed. And in order to bring something like this forward, you need one document which obtains the jurisdiction for the court. Then you need another one which lays out the facts under oath. And all this is doing, and all it is intended to do, is to expand the universe of officials who can issue the jurisdictional document beyond the police department and allow the zoning officer and the building department and the code enforcement officers to essentially what I'd call write the ticket.
Can I try to clarify that? I think the question was, does the rest of the language after this in Exhibit A still exist? Or is
Everything exists. I think there are 3 dots.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, you know, that's a printer's mark for nothing after that is disturbed.
Okay.
Pardon me, thank you.
Because, you know, the board has changed the code, and then we found out after the fact that something wasn't exactly right, and you had to go back and change it. So I wanted to ask whether or not, as Matt just pointed out, whether the rest of this does still apply.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Is there anybody else that would like to discuss anything on the agenda? Mr. Kutcher.
I don't know whether I'm illegally sneaking in a side item or not here. So I saw that this item involved code with trees. And tomorrow before the planning board is going to be looking at a proposal for emergency 1 that is going to ask to cut down 7 trees on the property that you sold, emergency 1. And I just trying to bring that to the board's attention. And I don't know whether there's any provision in the board's sale of the property that would restrict this, or if the planning board knows that, or what the situation is. But as part of their submittal, they have asked to place a refuse container in this corner of the site plan, the southeast corner of the building. This is the strip of land that the town owns. And there are a group of 10 trees in that area.
Yeah, that's definitely a planning board issue altogether. That's got nothing, this was a fine issue with that. But no, thanks, Mr. Kutcher, for bringing it forward.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to address the board? If not, a motion to resume the rules?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Whereas the town of Poughkeepsie has received a determination regarding the application of the town of Poughkeepsie Detective Sergeant Douglas Sherwin for accidental disability retirement from the Office of New York State Controller, New York State and local police and fire retirement system dated October 1st, 2018. And whereas said determination found that Mr. Sherwin is permanently incapacitated for performance of his duties as a town of Poughkeepsie Detective Sergeant, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby concur with the Office of the New York State Controller's Office determination, and his accidental disability retirement is effective immediately. So moved.
Second.
Good motion, second. Any more questions on that one?
Just like to wish Mr. Sherman well. Hopefully, he's able to enjoy his retirement.
Very, very important to recognize that everything that he's done for the department and that his career is cut short because of something that happened to him while he was working. Thank you, Detective Sergeant.
Second that. All those in favor of this resolution?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Whereas Leslie Lugo, by Resolution 516, Number 4 of 2018, was appointed as a temporary part-time police assistant, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Leslie Lugo to the position of permanent part-time police assistant with the Town of Poughkeepsie Police Department at a grade 6, step 1 salary of $21.53 per hour, which appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 8, no more than 26 weeks per civil service law, effective October 29th, 2018. And be it further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documents required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions on this one? All those,
Say there was a typo on the agenda.
yes,
Full-time, but it's permanent.
it's only permanent part-time, correct. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby adopt the annexed procurement policy, the provisions of which shall be applicable to all officers and employees of the Town of Poughkeepsie effective immediately. So moved.
Second.
I'd like,
Mr. Supervisor,
I'd like to make a motion to table this to allow more time to go over the language and ask that we have it added to the next agenda.
Yep,
Perfect.
Bill brought that up, and that was,
second.
yeah, a couple of people asked for that. We just want to make sure it got on there.
Great.
All right, we'll move that.
So you
Motion to table.
moved it, and then you moved to table.
Table till next meeting.
You need a second to move the table, right?
Second.
Second and second.
Okay,
All those in
thank you.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll be back next month.
The next meeting is we.
Yes,
Please.
yeah, didn't get out till late.
Okay. Be resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby appoint Carl Whitehead to serve as Chairman of the Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board, effective October 23rd, 2018. Be it further resolved, the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby appoint Carl Whitehead to the Town of Poughkeepsie Comprehensive Plan Review Committee, replacing Mr. Wiseman as the Planning Board Representative. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions on this one?
I'd just like to thank Carl for stepping up. He's been on the board for a number of years. He's done a really good job. He's taken all the training classes we could ask him, and he's willing to do a really valuable job for the town. So thank you, Carl.
He was here, wasn't he? There he is. Thank you, Carl. Good luck. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Resolution 5, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept the certificate of attendance for Carl Whitehead from Dutchess County Cornell Cooperative Extension for the course entitled Energy Efficiency and Smart Growth Community Design, a copy of which is attached. So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the applications submitted by Bob Legacy on behalf of the Arlington Business Improvement District and does hereby grant approval of the Arlington Improvement District to hold a holiday parade on Saturday, December 1st, 2018, between 4:30 p.m. and 6 p.m., which parade application requests the closures of Main from Fowler Avenue to Raymond Avenue and Raymond Avenue from Main Street to College Avenue. And be further resolved, that the town clerk is in receipt of a certificate of liability insurance naming the town as an additional insured. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Be it resolved pursuant to and in accordance with the provisions of Section 106 of Town Law and other applicable provisions of the law, the tentative statement of estimated revenues heretofore submitted by a supervisor is adopted as a preliminary budget of the Town of Poughkeepsie for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2019, and such preliminary budget is on file in the Town Clerk's office of the Town of Poughkeepsie for public inspection. Be it further resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby set the 7th day of November, 2018, 7 p.m., Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, is a date and time and place of the public hearing on the preliminary budget for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2019, at which time all interested parties will have the opportunity to be heard, which preliminary budget was approved by this board and filed with the town clerk, Be it further resolved, the town clerk is hereby authorized, empowered, and directed to advertise said public hearing in the Poughkeepsie Journal no less than 5 days prior to public hearing and to post the same in the town clerk's bulletin board. Be it further resolved that this resolution will take effect immediately. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby set 7th day of November 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, as and for the time, day, and place of public hearing to amend by local law Town Code Chapter 187 entitled Tree Preservation, specifically 187-15, entitled Penalties for Offenses. And be it further resolved that the proposed amendments are attached hereto and incorporated herein, and the town board does hereby waive a verbatim reading of said amendments and does direct that said amendments be spread across the record as if they in fact had been read verbatim, with those words underlined and to be added and words stricken to be deleted. And be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby determine that this action is a type 2 action involving the ongoing administration of the town and it requires no environmental review. And be it further resolved that the said local law, is, if adopted, shall take effect immediately upon file with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
9, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby set the 28th day of November, 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, as and for the time, date, and place of a public hearing by local law to amend Town Code Chapter 210 entitled Zoning, specifically 210-9, entitled Definitions, with the addition of Section 210-80 Sub 1, entitled Little Free Libraries. And be it further resolved that the proposed amendments are attached hereto and incorporated herein, and that the town board does hereby waive a verbatim reading of said amendments, and does direct that said amendments be spread across the record as if they had in fact been read verbatim, with those words underlined to be added and those words stricken to be deleted. And be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby determine that this is a type 2 action involving the ongoing administration of the town and requires no environmental review. And be it further resolved that said local law, if adopted, shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby declare the town to have equipment to be surplus, and does hereby authorize the sale of those surplus items and such other items as may be specifically designated as surplus, as shown in the annex memo from Auto Center Manager Brian Porter, and authorized to be sold by the supervisor or his designee at an online web auction conducted by Absolute Auction Center, 45 South Avenue, Pleasant Valley, New York, at their standard rates, provided that a complete record of equipment and the results of the auction be maintained. So moved.
Second.
We have motion second. Any questions on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept with regret the resignation of Jennifer Strell from the part-time permanent clerk position in the Planning Department, effective immediately. So moved.
Second.
A motion is second on it. Any questions on this one? Just wish her the best of luck. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Resolution 12, be it further resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Sarah Taylor to the position of part-time typist, grade 4, step 5, with the Town Court, at the salary of $21.7124 per hour, effective immediately, which appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 8 nor more than 26 weeks per civil service law. And be it further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Be resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby amend its current employee handbook, specifically section 902, non-discrimination and harassment, including sexual harassment in the workplace, which copy of said amendment is annexed. So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Any questions on this? The whole handbook will be coming up to be redone, but this was something that the state just passed the law, so we had to get this piece in there. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Whereas the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie has been advised that County Legislator Ken Roman, who represents Dutchess County Legislative District 5, which district lies wholly within the town of Poughkeepsie, resigned as of midnight October 9, 2018. Whereas the Poughkeepsie Journal was advised of his resignation on October 5, 2018, ran an article regarding the opportunity to apply to the town to be appointed to fill the seat through December 31st, 2019. Whereas the supervisor announced the vacancy and application and appointment process at the October 3rd, 2018 town board meeting, whereas the town board has received and reviewed 3 resumes from individuals wishing to be considered for the position. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie pursuant to a Dutchess County Charter, Section 2.13A, after conducting interviews and upon due consideration deliberation, hereby designates Tom Keith to serve as interim successor representing Dutchess County Legislative District 5, and directs that a certified copy of this resolution be forthwith transmitted to the clerks of the Dutchess County legislators. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any comments on this one?
Yep. There has not been due consideration and deliberation. We had interviews on Monday afternoon. We were asked to write emails to you. We have not had any chance to discuss.
Now is the time to discuss, because we cannot do it in private, which we did not do that day, because as we walked out, I think somebody in that meeting said, can we discuss? I said, absolutely not.
Yep.
Not allowed.
So 1,256 people in the 5th District have voted for Pam Kingsley. How many votes have been cast for Mr. Keith?
As a county legislator? None. He's currently sits on Spackenkill School Board, and the other candidate did run for a county seat at one time and came within 20 votes of the past legislator, and that was years ago.
Okay, but
different district.
we're not discussing the other candidate.
Here we are, because we don't have a candidate's name. You didn't. I'm discussing that candidate, but go on.
Okay. Basically, what you're saying here is that 4 people have gotten to decide something that 1,256 already weighed in on.
No, 7 people.
The majority of the town board.
7 people get the vote.
If I may, I have.
Feel free.
Go. I find it really disappointing that this is going to be. First, I want to ask, is it the normal practice that the town board members are not made aware until the resolution is read? We weren't, even on our desk here when we got here, it didn't say who.
It doesn't say mine. I read the resolution, his name I put in the resolution.
Right.
It could be changed at board level to whoever wants to change it. It could have ended up in somebody else's seat.
Yeah. I agree with Matt that, Pam Kingsley was the one who ran a campaign against Ken Robin. And I understand, while the argument that I've heard on the other side is that Tom Keith, his ideals are in line and he is more in line with Ken Roman. I think it's really unfair to assume that one man is able to just sit in for the other one, that his voters would have automatically voted for Tom Keith. I think that's speculating. I think the only thing we do know is that Pam Kingsley was the only candidate that we got a resume for that is actively involved in the county legislature, attends meetings, is knowledgeable about legislation, current, past, future, has showed her dedication even after losing her race when she found a home on the CAC in the town of Poughkeepsie, a volunteer board. And I think that it's disappointing that we are not taking the chance to make a really responsible decision and show the town of Poughkeepsie residents that we don't play partisan politics, that we're all here together to make the best choice, the most responsible choices for our town. And I don't believe that that's what's happening here tonight.
Yeah, and I'd just like to say that I think Pam Kingsley is a missed opportunity. Not only did she run, but she continues to go to meetings. She has a really good grasp of what's going on in the county, what the problems of the county are, and she'll hit the ground running. And I mean, Tom Keith, he is a good candidate. I'm sure he'll do a good job, but there's going to be a learning curve there. And he's got a lot on his plate, too. So it's going to take him some time to get up to speed, whereas Pam is ready to go now. And I just think this is a missed opportunity for us.
Anybody else going?
May I?
Mr. Carlos?
3 times since I've been on this board, have the 7 people that sat in these chairs had to appoint somebody to fill a hole that the voters put the person in. It's kind of a humbling experience to try and have these 7 people make a decision where there was an election. In the election for Ken, 1,400 people voted for him. Ken has served in that position for a long time, and I've known him for 40-plus years. In respect to the 1,400 people who voted for him for that position, I think it's incumbent upon us to at least try to match what Ken did in the legislature with the same kind of a person. This is not an easy decision. there are three very good candidates. It comes down to, in my case, which one of those three most closely would model what Mr. Roman did and how he was on the legislature. There are multiple issues involved in the county legislature. Some of them are very serious. For example, the most recent cut in the sales tax for the town of Poughkeepsie. That's millions of dollars. More important than that is the Dutchess County Jail project, which is the single largest project in the history of Dutchess County and is going to be some $200 million. People that we have to select, and I don't take this lightly, and I don't think it's a good thing to do. The law requires that we do it in X number of days. I would prefer to have had an election, but unfortunately that doesn't happen until the next regular election. Having interviewed all three and spent some time thinking about this myself, I can't think of a better candidate to put into this position than Mr. Keith. He sits as president of the Spackenkill School District School Board, responsible for a budget of some $33 million.
Excuse me, $46 million.
$46 million.
$46 million to educate 1,500 children.
Okay, he's responsible for that budget, for the staff levels, and for all the stuff that goes on in there. Plus, run the board meetings, and be responsible for the safety and welfare of the kids. So, seeing all that, knowing that what's involved in something like that, I'm perfectly comfortable with my vote for Mr. Keith.
If I can just respond, because I think you were speaking at least at first to what I said. And I think, again, in choosing someone who you think, or all four of you think, closely aligns with him, is undermining the fact that in these local races, in local government, we are elected because of our personal relationships, because of our personal commitments within the community and what we have done as individuals within the community, the people we meet, whose hands we shake. This is not a national election where people just vote party lines. I think any of us that sat in the Board of Elections, Jay, I know you were there, we sat as those ballots were being opened, and we saw party lines crossed a number of times because people are voting for us as individuals. And the only person that was interviewed that was voted for by individuals was Pam Kingsley. And who are we to say that our 7 voices are more important than the over 1,250 voters that voted for Pam?
The 1,400 people that didn't.
Voted for Ken, but not for Tom Keith, who has not had the ability.
So
And
we-
he is free to run next election, but he was not voted for this time. Pam Kingsley was.
So we honor 1,240 and disregard 1,400.
But the 1,400 did not vote for Tom Keith. You're missing my point. Ken Roman has been an upstanding person in this community. He has been a DARE officer. He is an individual who people know and respect as a person, not as an ideal. So that is a difference. Like I said, these are local races, and you know that it matters who we are, not just the ideals we run on. So I don't agree.
Yeah, but even local issues, agendas, are separated a lot of times by party line. I think you know that.
So then let's at least
Because
be
I looked at
honest.
those 1,400 votes, like they're saying, that were casted for Kenny, they do count. No, they do count. And like I said, when we interviewed, I'm speaking of myself, and we talked about some of the issues, Tom Keith aligned with the issues that I believe in.
Sure.
So that's what I look at.
Now, in all due respect to every one of the candidates, I worked with 2 of the 3. I do not know Ms. Kingsley all that well, though she did interview well. But I have to align myself with someone I feel most comfortable with. I know Mr. Keith for a number of years now. I've worked with him. I've worked with the other candidate, Mr. Lecter, very well. Okay? So you haven't even, we haven't even given consideration, we don't know who we're going to vote for other than Mr. Keith right now. So to say we already made a decision, I do disagree with that. But since you did ask it, and I will bring it up, I go with who I feel most comfortable with, and I worked with Mr. Keith on a number of things throughout the town in the years he's been in the police department. So that's where my vote's going.
So the fact that Pamela Kingsley is the only one who regularly attends county legislature meetings and was had knowledge of current legislation and future legislation and exactly what's going on, that is not important to you, that the person that you are going to vote for was not aware of issues?
Well, it's very important to me, but I know Mr. Keith will do a very good job.
And the one comment I have to say is that I don't think anybody wants to make this choice. It happened last year, it happened this year. I mean, I just wish it wouldn't happen, that, we're the ones, and we are the ones. County charter says we are the 7 to make this choice.
The argument can't be that this isn't about partisan politics and then also at the same time be these people would have voted for him because he's a Republican. This is a circular, cyclical argument. You can't make both. Like Jess said, these elections at this level are someone who has stood in front of you and shaken your hand and talked to you personally. We cannot assume that the 1,400 people that voted for Mr. Roman would, given the choice, vote for Mr. Keith. That we don't have that information. What we have is the information in front of us. Mr. Roman got 1,400 votes. Ms. Kingsley got 1,256. We can't discount any of these people, but this is what we have in front of us. This is our information right now. And we can't say that people at this level are completely interchangeable. That's not how people work. It is how political parties work, but that's not what this is
Sure, and if
supposed to
we
be
want to
about.
just be honest about what's happening and say we're replacing a Republican with a Republican because we're Republicans and we can, then I at least can respect that. But again, like Matt said, to try to make this argument that this is not a political appointment.
Typically, if someone comes to my door or I go to somebody's door, they get to know me before they vote for me. I do not know Ms. Kingsley. You guys seem to. I do not. Other than meeting her the
But
other
you know
night,
her qualifications.
I don't know her. I don't
That's
know
the
her.
point. You
I
know her
Mr. Keith,
qualifications.
And I know his qualifications, okay? So I'm voting on the same thing you're voting on, someone's qualifications, okay? I know him.
But his resume was essentially, besides naming
I
the two
know
places
him.
where he works, but okay.
I've known him for years. I have respect for the gentleman, and I know he'll do a good job. There's a big difference. I do not know Ms. Kingsley well enough to go ahead and give her a vote for this magnitude. She can certainly run, and if she wins, I will congratulate her.
1,256 people were comfortable putting her in, and apparently our 7 voices are more important to you than the voters, which is fine. I think we might as well just
For
move
the
forward,
record,
because we know what's happened.
1,256 votes would have won the election in 4 other county ledge districts. We're not talking about
4 other county legislators sit right now
that earned.
and that had less votes cast for them than Pamela Kingsley did in her race.
1,400 voters voted against her.
For someone else that is not against her, that's also not fair. That is not fair. A
don't
vote
think we
for
should
someone personally is not an attack or a vote against someone else.
Are we ready to vote?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Police, you want to do a roll
Move the
call?
question.
Councilman Ranahan.
Aye.
Councilman Carlo.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lopez.
Nay.
Councilman Safon.
Aye.
Councilman Willover.
Nay.
Councilwoman Shershon.
Nay.
Supervisor Baisley.
Aye. Motion passes 4-3. Thanks to all the interviewees, and best of luck, Mr. Keith.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept the stormwater management facility inspection and maintenance easement in regards to the project known as IDOM Equities, Inc. project. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to sign the stormwater management facility inspection and maintenance agreement and any supporting recording documents in regards to IDOM Equities, Inc. project in substantially the form attached. Be it further resolved that such acceptance and authorization by the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie is subject to the approval of all final documents by the Town Attorney, Planning Board Attorney, Town Engineer, and the Director of Municipal Development for the Town of Poughkeepsie. So move.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
16, notice of claim, Haight versus the town. 17, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby acknowledge the receipt of a request on behalf of 110 Grill PG, Poughkeepsie LLC, DBA 110 Grill 2001 South Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, for a waiver of the 30-day review period for a liquor license application. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the town clerk's forwarding of a waiver and consent pursuant to the attached request. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby grant special consent to the following items to wit. Number 1, accept Director Welty resignation of John Weissman from the Comprehensive Review Plan Committee, and be it further resolved that upon the objection of any member of the Town Board, an item may be removed from the list and voted on separately. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby accept with regret the resignation of John Wiseman from the Comprehensive Plan Committee position effective October 22nd, 2018. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. We've come to the end of our meeting. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for any comment on town business at all.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Does anybody, Doreen, anybody like to make any comment? Doreen?
A member of the public watching at home says you cannot hear people at the table. So anybody that comes up to make any comments, I don't know what's going to be recorded. Is there anybody in the back?
She's back there. I'll see if it is. Yeah, at this point, Jim, does that one work? Or no? One next to you? No? It's that one.
Emic.
All right.
Want to turn it off and just turn it on again and maybe keep that?
Is that one working, Jim? Can she?
No.
No.
Just so you know, anybody at
All
the
right.
table that may not be recorded, that may have to be noted in the meeting minutes. So I have a question. So the CAC was appointed a full slate of members, I believe, back in August of 2018. And they're subject to the open meetings law, and they're supposed to have the meetings posted and meeting minutes prepared. I don't see those meetings scheduled on the town website, so if I'm missing it, can somebody tell me where?
I think they had an organizational meeting during that. Was it? Mike, if I'm correct, they're going to have a set time frame for to be in here?
They will, starting this month is the fourth Monday of the month, so that's next Monday, 22nd, 5 o'clock.
And-
We'll be meeting in the conference room. For the second.
And Doreen, there still is one spot left open on there too.
And, you know, again, so this is another 5 o'clock meeting. The planning board meetings used to be 7 o'clock years ago, then they went to 6:30, then they're 6 o'clock, now 5 o'clock. How many members of the public can show up at a 5 o'clock meeting? So now you have a trend here. You have the planning board, 5 o'clock, now you have the CAC at 5 o'clock. To me, that just limits public participation. So I know I talked about this before about the planning board. I think that was just to the convenience of board members. I mean, the zoning board at least meets at, I believe it's 6 o'clock, which is better. 5 o'clock is just, totally inconsiderate to the public. So, then my other question, since when Carlos brought it up, is when you talked about serious issues like the sales tax for the legislature. So what is being done? What has the town of Poughkeepsie, has anybody requested anything of any of the legislators representing the town to do something to get back any of that sales tax money?
I've personally spoke to some of them in reference to when the contract comes up. Right now, we get an escalator based on population that's in that new formula, and we do get a check now. It's almost $360,000, I think, this year. Besides when they took away the $400,000, it's slowly climbing, but as of now, there's a contract in place with the two cities, and the way it's panned out, I think it's good for another 3 or 4 years during.
So basically, there's nothing that can be done about that for the next 3 or 4 years?
No, we just keep fighting over trying to get more shared service money out of it. It's one of the only other ways, and the mayors and supervisors keep asking for, instead of giving shared service, just give us a portion of that money. And we've reached out to some of the legislators on that too.
Then, my last item here is again about, the planning board. I think the meetings are too early. I also think, again, that more consideration needs to be given to preservation of natural resources. So like Mr. Pedro was talking about, some trees that were going to be cut out. I'm not aware of the project at all, so I can't talk about that specifically. But again, just, trees are not just for looks. They provide valuable functions. We talked about this before, stormwater. Now there's huge drainage issues supposedly in the town. And again, they allow building in wetland buffers and floodplains, and it just seems like, a waste of some grant money and waste of time when you're talking about drainage problems, when you allow building that could contribute to those same problems. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Been talking to the board about trees for the last, I guess, at least 18 years. I've been here for 2003, Mr. Kaminsky, and the building of Oakwood Common. I've been here in 2006 to 2008 to, I don't know, another 7 years about Mr. Germano's property, the property we're talking about today. Now, we talked about trees. This is a picture of the 11 trees that they want to cut down, and the 50-foot canopy of trees that extend 50 foot this way and that way, 50 feet into the air. Behind these trees, my house is over here, Mike White's is over here, Peter Ladritis is over here, Alice Dominguez is here, and Eric Anderson is there. So these are all trees that are about 60, 70 feet, maybe 100 feet from 3 or 4 houses and a little bit further. And again, if you look at a piece of property with just a fence, a bare fence, and I can show you some pictures of what the Emergency One property looks like with no trees at a different site. When you have a fence with no trees around it and no framing, you're removing a considerable part of our environment, right, that we've had there for all this time. And these trees have been there through all the years that the town owned the property. They sold the property to these guys, and it seems crazy that 2 months after that, whatever it is, or 3 months, that they just react to, oh, there's some trees in the way of the refuse thing, let's just cut them down. That's it. It boggles my mind, all right? And then we go through this, and hopefully the process has been very open, the process is very clear. I know a lot more than I knew under Mr. Welty and we have much more information, so I'm not complaining about the process, and maybe the planning board is just gonna go and say, forget about it, but it drives me personally crazy after going through this over and over and over again. And we have the only set of trees essentially in the environment. If you walk along Route 9 from Spatkill Road to Locust Grove, or you eat at the Tabletop Diner and look up at the hill, you'll see trees. The only place you'll see trees. If you look at the vertical pictures looking down at the whole Route 9 corridor, we're like an oasis along Route 9. So it just seems...
I think you stay in contact with Mr. Welty like you have been. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that project,
Everything is open.
Yeah.
We've got good responses, and I'm just surprised that Emergency One, who we like the youth, and we want them to act as a neighbor. But the first thing they did was come in with a proposal to have an exit on Van Sickland. And the second meeting, they have a proposal to put the refuse thing in the corner. And the next meeting, instead of planting trees, they actually cut down 7, and also in the submittal, they eliminated 3 trees that were gonna be a barrier to the thing. They eliminated another tree in another location, and they planted about 5 trees just to the east of a barrier of pines that Mr. Rosenberg put in when he designed Hudson Harbor. And so we have a bunch of landscaping in front of a barrier of trees, but they're taking down the trees that we're looking at.
It is something, definitely stay in touch with the board. I mean, they've been pretty open in fixing that up and some of the different issues you've brought up already. And I think it's going to be a beautiful project, but that's definitely something that the planning board should be aware of.
I'm looking for communication with them as neighbors, not to fight them through the official system tooth and nail, because the rest of it, I'm a retired guy, but, you know, so I have the time and I have the interest, and the rest of the people are, you know, if there's not somebody like me, this thing could just goes through and then all of a sudden they're gone, you know, that's what happened.
No, stay in contact with Matt. You've been in contact with him before, so stay in contact with Matt to help. Thank you. Is there anybody else that
Hi, John McBride, Town of Poughkeepsie GOP, and Chairman of the 5th Ward. Just going to say a few things about the hearing I just saw. Other than that, we think that Tom Keefe is fully qualified. First of all, the Spag-and-Kill budget. I worked for the Board of Elections for 20 years. I've been helping run the Spag-and-Kill budget vote here for the last 15. Every budget since 2007 has passed, usually by a wide margin. And this past year, it was 90-10 margin.
I just gave the numbers from their website.
It's only been on there for 8 years.
I only gave them the numbers there on their website. That's all the
If the
information.
voters had a problem with that, they would have voted it down. They have not done that since 2007. And second of all, I've been involved in a lot of elections where there were multiple people running, and there was one time where the person who got the most votes couldn't serve. So instead of having another election, somebody told me, well, let's just give it to the second place guy. There was no second place guy. There was 1 winner and 5 losers. And I don't know how you get the logic of, well, the winner can't serve, let's just hand it to the loser. The loser lost because the voters didn't like her. And short of an election, there should be somebody who is more like the winner that can't serve anymore. That's who should be replaced.
I think that statement's inappropriate,
I
sir.
don't know where you get this twisted logic.
No, it's not twisted.
John,
If that's the way you think, there should be no problem replacing both of you next year.
Got that recorded during?
Marlene? No, you have to come up here.
We'll give you a pretzel after.
You'll give her a pretzel.
What happened to?
Have a seat and try and talk loud.
Yes, speak up, please.
Sorry.
Oh.
Loud.
Loud,
Hear me?
loud.
Loud. Okay, I have a question. What happened to number 16? Did you remove it from the agenda and I couldn't say that?
Oh, no, number 16 was mentioned. That was
Notice of
It's a
claim.
notice-
notice of claim.
It just goes to legal. There's nothing to talk about.
Yes, did you refer it to legal?
Yes.
Yeah, it was
Mr.
mentioned.
Carlos did, I think.
Carlos read it.
Meeting after this meeting to discuss
No.
it?
No.
Not necessarily.
just
Depends
an-
what it is.
Yeah, it just gets referred to legal department. It's a claim. We don't know if,
So I can't ask any questions?
You can ask me a question if you really want to. Claims can be like a pothole or,
Say that again.
it can be like a pothole or it can be a slip and fall, it can be anything like that.
Does this have to do with the election
Not
coming
at all.
up? Does it have
no,
This has to do with someone getting hurt in the Home Depot Plaza.
there's not,
In the Home Depot Plaza on Route 9, somebody slipped on
we got served, Marlene, and basically probably has nothing to do with us, which happens on quite a few cases. We refer them to legal and they go to,
Go through the legal process of
But-
giving it to insurance.
Okay, so this hate is not the hate I'm thinking of. This is-
I guess not. No, this hate, unless that hate that you're thinking of fell in the Home Depot Plaza, it's not the hate you're thinking of.
Thanks. That clears it up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to discuss anything? If not, a motion.
Yes, no. I have an announcement too, that the town's Halloween parade is going
Hey,
to
can we
be.
resume the rules first? So then you can speak?
Rules and then, yeah.
Then you can
Why
speak.
can't I be part of the public comment?
Okay, be part of the public, Ann, go ahead. Go ahead.
The town is having a Halloween parade, October 27th, which is maybe a Saturday. Yes, good. At 11 o'clock, we're going to meet in the north parking lot off of College View Avenue in Vassar's north parking lot, and then they proceed to the front lawn there, where they judge the kids in the costumes. It's adorable. It's well worth going to. And then there's trick-or-treating in the dorms. There's going to be activities and crafts for the kids, a bounce house, and it's a good time had by all.
And the activities are given by Vassar.
Oh, that's right.
For
The
students.
Vassar's Good Neighbors Committee is supplying the activities and the bounce house and the trick-or-treating in the dorm. So it's a very nice
You
occasion.
usually get a good turnout for that.
Yep.
You got anything else, public?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Motion to resume the rules.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Wait.
Wait a minute.
Wait.
Oh, Jeff.
Not that easy.
Adam.
Come on. Be resolved, the town board of Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby adjourn to executive session to consider the following: to discuss matters which are exempt under the open meeting law, including matters subject to attorney-client privilege. So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town board goes in executive session at 7:57 PM.